OBS. There we go. Hello, and welcome to the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net here, live streamed via the Farmacy Seeds Network YouTube channel. It is 9 p.m. and every Sunday night we run the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. This is an amateur radio net dedicated to gardening, farming, ecology, and so much more. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. The Sunday Night All Things Natural Net is an amateur radio net provided by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, located in beautiful Ulster County, New York, and provided to the amateur radio community and dedicated to farming, gardening, ecology, and so much more. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. If there's any check-ins, please call now. Hello everyone in the chat. Kirsten Lee, Marie Bond, Kiki Gardens. Much appreciated. Good to see you guys in here. Oh my, there we go. I say it might be a quiet radio night. Hey Kai. My friend Ken, KD2TQS. See if anybody else shows up. And the net recognizes KD2TQS. Ken, how are you this evening?
Very good, very good. But I do have a slight deviation to my normal protocol. I am on the back with Chai, but standing and pacing versus sitting. So, variety, spice of life, you know.
Fantastic, fantastic. No fire going out there tonight? Hey, Jarvis.
There we go. Stand by.
No worries. Sounded like a battery going dead on you there. So KD2, and we'll stand by, and we'll look for further check-ins for the moment. Been quiet lately here.
I'm here in Lisbon, K2BHM.
There we go. K2BHM. Jim. The net recognizes K2BHM. Jim, how are you this evening?
Good. I'm kind of preoccupied. I'm writing you an email.
Okay. No worries, no worries. I understand. Well, we'll go ahead and provide another opportunity for check-ins and give Ken a chance to get his radio issue straightened out. So this is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. So any further check-ins, please call now. Alright, no further check-ins recognized at this time. We'll roll back up and see if Ken's got the radio situation squared away. KD2TQS from KD2IIN.
KD2TQS. Yes, haven't resolved. At least it says I'm transmitting. Yeah, no fire tonight. Also will advise you I may have to secure rapidly and or unexpectedly from the net. I have two different situations going on that I'm waiting to hear back on. So, in the meanwhile, let's chat.
Sounds good, Ken. Acknowledge that you may have to secure unexpectedly, and totally understand that, and always appreciate your participation. So I don't know what's on your mind this evening.
For once, not much. Overload. There was a T-shirt back in the day, which I almost wanted to get. The old computer code. Insufficient memory at this time.
I totally understand that. This week has kind of been like that for me too. Things have just been so busy. It's like it's hard to really be thinking ahead about anything. Just so focused on trying to keep up with all the things that are already on the schedule. But awesome. I don't know. Did you hear the OMARC Daily Check-In Net earlier? Hey, Bomber.
Yes, I did. I heard a whopping 10 seconds of it before I had to turn the radio off for another situation.
Okay, sounds like you probably missed the part we were talking a little bit about pets and consciousness and all sort of etheric sort of topics, but it was an interesting discussion.
Do tell. Definitely in my bailiwick.
For sure. Well, let's see. Kenny, K2KRP, had a huge tree come down in his yard, and he said he usually parks right where that tree came down, and for some reason he had parked in a different spot, and so the tree missed his brand new vehicle by about 1 foot. And then I didn't catch the whole story from this morning, but I guess the deer came in and had some sort of a tree funeral around the tree. And so then that opened up a discussion about cats and dogs and, people's dogs and cats, like knowing when they're coming home or, kind of being able to read our minds or understand what we're thinking or what we're planning on doing or what our feelings are. And so we sort of briefly delved into that discussion, but we didn't really get deep into it, obviously, because that net is a much shorter format. I wonder if you have any thoughts or perspective or insights on that. Nice, Kai. Decorating the tree.
Yeah, but we only have an hour, right?
Well, this is true.
Let me jump in, and I'll try to offer everything self-contained in case I have to disengage. There are several people I know of. I know one of the scientists working on it, and I know of several other projects in the government that they actually have machines which can read human aura or field or whatever you want to call it. The reason I quantify that is we don't know exactly what level of it they're reading. But they also, on another episode, another event, aspect, there we go, drop. On another aspect, I believe it was MIT, but one of the really, really big high-tech companies did a brain implant on one of the researchers, implanted into his own brain, and was able to control somebody else's computer by thinking about it remotely, and likewise was able to communicate to another person's brain who also had one of these implants without typing on the keyboard.
Oh, wow. I was not aware of that one. I think the Aura one you're talking about, I think that's called the GDV camera, and I forget what that stands for, but I think we're on the same subject on that one, but I was not aware of the MIT one. That's interesting. And one of the experiments I brought up in the net in the short discussion there was Rupert Sheldrake has done some experiments with this about people's pets, and he's actually found that when people start to think about coming home, their pet knows it and starts, goes out and waits for them in their usual waiting spot. So very interesting tie-in there with the MIT thing.
Now, one thing I do want to caution you and all of your listeners about, on these nets, I'm coming in unprepared and at the end of a very, very long day, so the concepts I offer are 100% accurate. The details of whether it be MIT versus Harvard versus whoever or wherever may not be. But the concepts are true. They have studied it. It was actually quite a while ago, in terms of research-wise, possibly going on a year old. Definitely groundbreaking, but definitely a year old or so.
Very interesting. Yeah, I think the Rupert Sheldrake stuff is actually probably 4 or 5 years old now, and it's an area of study I have not been back to recently to sort of update. And the same thing. Like I try to remember as best I can the details and relate them as accurately as I can. But as with all things, you do your own research, and Google can be your friend sometimes, and it's always good to view things from your own perspective and look into things yourself and learn on your own over and above our discussions. Well, let's just take a pause here and see if there's any further check-ins, and then we'll carry this discussion on. This is KD2 Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. If there's any further check-ins, please call now. All right, looks like no further check-ins at this time. Picking up where we were talking, I actually just saw, I'm subscribed to Jordan Peterson's YouTube channel, and he just had Wim Hof on. And if you don't know who Wim Hof is, I imagine you probably do, Ken, but maybe other people don't. Wim Hof is he's been, he's done some very interesting stuff regarding controlling his body temperature. And their discussion was around consciousness and psychology and control of body temperature, but not only that, but also restoring human health and how much more powerful our minds and our consciousness is over what we consider to be the part of our body that is not controlled consciously. Do you have any thoughts or perspective on that or familiarity with that?
Laughing hysterically. You mean, do I teach a 6-year advanced diploma in this area? Why, yes, coincidentally I do. I have lots of data on that. I presume you're referring to the Iceman, and there's a lot more to that study than you realize. Drop.
Awesome.
It was definitively proven with his technique, will fight illness.
Yes.
Definitively proven in a scientific study that would never be able to be done in the United States.
Yes, I did see that, and I've tried to relate that story to people. Obviously, that's kind of a complex topic, and for someone who isn't aware of any of this, it's sort of a groundbreaking, ground-shaking realization to have. And I've had a lot of people tell me, "Oh no, that they don't believe that." And I'm like, well, you should go look at the actual science and the research that was done, because it's a fact and has been scientifically proven. So if you could elaborate more on that, that would be awesome.
Yes, I can, and I can offer you a hard reference on the material, a book that blew me away. I'm readjusting and getting it out so I can get you the exact title. Drop.
I love talking to this guy.
What the Iceman study did is, in addition to being able to maintain his body temperature normal for 4 hours encased in ice, he actually was intentionally injected with a highly infectious pathogen.
Yep.
Injected, which would guarantee that he should become sick from it. And they tracked him. They put him in an ICU-type research environment. His body nailed it. There was no infection where there guaranteed should have been. And this was repeated on more than one occasion. So there's hard science behind that. I'm going to drop and get a book for you. This book blew me away several years ago. And I recommend it to many of my clients about it. The lady who wrote it has got creds. She has real creds. She works for the British Museum. She's done for the Smithsonian. She has a doctorate in genetics, Scientific American, Smithsonian Magazine, a whole bunch of stuff. And I'm going to drop, get the title, then I'll come back and talk to you. So if you want to cover any dead air, I'll be back shortly.
Very good, very good. I will take an opportunity for check-ins here, and we'll check in with Jim and see what he thinks about all this, and then we'll come back around and pick it back up. So let's roll on down the list here briefly and talk to Jim quickly, and then we'll take another opportunity for check-ins. This is KD2 Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Jim, what are your thoughts on that? K2BHM. Yeah, with the E. coli bomber.
I kind of have to pay attention to you guys, and have to pay attention to the email I'm writing. But I do know that with the modern advances in MRIs and enhanced computer power and stuff like that, they are able to do dynamic scanning of the brain real time and do some tracking as to what areas light up due to what stimulus, and opening up all kinds of new doors. That's kind of another interesting avenue to pursue. And if I can step aside for a quick and you've got more experience with the club than me. How many mail-in votes have you seen in the past?
Oh, I have no idea on that. I've never even been on the nomination committee before. It's a new area of lack of expertise on my part, I guess you could say. I really have no idea. But I don't think it was many. Maybe 5 or 6, maybe as many as 10 max. Yeah, he is fascinating.
Yeah, so I'm kind of getting the feeling that it's not a big thing, and I'm trying to deal with that.
All right, very good. Well, I don't know what to tell you in regard to that, but we can certainly address that further at another point. I'm going to take another opportunity for check-ins here. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things National Net. If there's any further check-ins, please call now. All right, no further check-ins. Let's see if Ken came back with the book title for us. KD2TQS.
KD2TQS, yes I do. The name of the book is Cure, A Journey into the Science of Mind over Body. Say again, Cure, C-U-R-E, Cure, A Journey into the Science of Mind over Body. The author is Joe Marchant, J-O, Juliet Oscar, second name Marchant, M-A-R-C-H-A-N-T. As I say, ladies got creds. The book is phenomenal. Chapter 4, I got halfway through it, and it took me 4 to 5 hours to process one simple thought, definitively proved your sentence. And I went, oh my God, yes. Her book didn't teach me anything. I knew all of the various points independently. She pulled it together phenomenally. I mean, phenomenally. It is an excellent, excellent book.
Fantastic. Well, I've written that down, and I will share that here in the YouTube chat when I get a chance to type it in. That's awesome. And it's amazing. I kind of was aware of a lot of these pieces, but it's great to see the scientific verification of them. It just kind of helps solidify it in my mind. And then also, it gives you a backing where people can't just say, oh, that's a bunch of hokey, whatever. It's like, no, it's actually scientifically validated now. And so there's that. Oh, and my mod here in the chat, Geeky Gardens, just shared the book, the link to the book on Amazon. So thank you for that, Geeky. So back to you, Ken.
Yeah, very briefly. I picked the book up. I had all of my faculty get it, read it, understand it. She writes numerous articles for magazines, and she describes
You're welcome, Mama.
This is not a medical text. It is not a science manual. It is a travelogue of her research into this stuff, and it's written in a way that anybody can read it. It reads like a magazine article, but boy, does she go into the details of the science behind it also, and who she researched and the rest. It is an amazing book. It started with her own investigation. She had a kid, went to the pool, everybody had the the bracelets for teething.
Thank you, Vinny.
Don't remember the name of it. Again, it's
hello.
my brain's racing. And she heard this story and said, oh, well, that's sort of nice. And as a scientist, she questioned it.
Thank you so much for the super chat, Vinny. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
From that, she said, but these people really believe this. What's going on with this? And it started her down a whole path of investigating numerous pathways, numerous aspects, and taking the old wives' tales and combining them with science. And the amount of stuff and the places she traveled to research this book is absolutely phenomenal and definitively gives proof of concept to all of these things. And some pretty good detail in some of the rest of it. Over.
That's awesome. That sounds like a book I'll have to add to my library of books that I need to read, that I never seem to get around to reading. I have to figure out a way to make myself sit down and read some books from time to time. Seems like things are just so busy, I just don't know how to do that effectively. But I guess it's mind over matter, isn't it?
Not really, and she goes into that. But we can call it that. The thing that people forget is Cartesian model going back to the Middle Ages separates res cognitans versus res physical. We separated the physical mind and the mental body, and science has continued with that flawed assessment ever since, not realizing that all four aspects of your being are completely integrated at all times and cannot be separated apart. And she goes into the science behind that and how the thought gets transmitted into chemicals, which are called emotions, which get transmitted to the body, which result in functional outcomes, which cascades the whole thing, which is the exact same thing we've been teaching for years, but she codifies it.
That's awesome, Ken. I really appreciate you sharing that information with us, and I always appreciate all the information you share. Every time you check in, you bring new information to me. I always feel like I'm kind of ahead of a lot of people in regards to this stuff, but that you just always take it to another level. Interesting how that goes back to the human body and mind model is the same as looking at our farming and regenerative agricultural models, where you have to look at the system as a whole and stop trying to separate pieces out and thinking that you can study them in isolation.
Yep, agreed. Now, to balance that, you do, for the scientific perspective, you do need to study them in isolation because it's so overwhelmingly complex. There's no way you could look at it and get results. So you do need that microscopic sliver of it. But more importantly, you need the dynamic overview and the holistic overview as you look at the sliver and put all the pieces of the puzzle together simultaneously.
Very well said. Very well said. Yeah, because you do need to be able to kind of go into the details so you can actually study them. But you have to keep in mind that while you're doing that you have to keep that as part of the system in your head at least. Yeah, that's an excellent way of putting it. So thank you for that, Ken. Let's just take a pause here and see if there's any further check-ins here, and then we'll carry on this awesome conversation. This is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday night All Things Natural Net. If there's any further check-ins, please call now. Looks like that's a no, and I don't want to leave Jim out of the conversation here. Jim, if you want to jump in, K2BHM, pick it up.
No, it's okay. I'm kind of on a roll here, preoccupied with something else. Just kind of halfway reading the mail and trying to compose some stuff here, so.
I love new science, Kylie. It makes me really smiley. You're going to make me blush, you keep saying that. All right, very good, Jim. Very good. So we'll roll back up to Ken, KD2, TQS.
KD2, TQS. Quick comment before I double back on Jim's comments. One of the mantras from Oriental medicine that we discuss in class all the time. Everything is connected to everything is connected to everything. And you cannot shift one thing without shifting everything
else.
Look at your systems from that point of view, and you see a whole different perspective.
It's so funny you say that. You know, for years I've had interest in so many areas of study. One sec. In so many areas of study, and you know, I run into people from time to time. We get talking about one thing, and then another topic will come up, and I'll kind of jump into that, and they, you know, they go, "Oh, wait a minute, that's a totally unrelated topic," and I just like, that's not my perspective. Everything is related in some form or fashion. You just got to understand each topic on its own, and then you'll start to see where the links fall together between them.
Yep, but we're too busy looking at that one little sliver that we have our PhD in, and that's what we publish on, and forget about everything else. That said, World Health Organization health emergency to make sure that environment is taken care of, animals are taken care of, water supply is taken care of, that the whole ecosystem needs to be treated. And they have actually made that a health priority. You can go on their website and CDC website and look up the One Health program. It's the same stuff we've been doing for years, but finally the Western mind is waking up to it.
Very interesting. I wasn't aware of that, and it's funny you bring up the Western mind about that. Yeah, it's amazing if you look at the Eastern study of medicine and study of human bodies and all the sort of science that we study here from our Western perspective. They kind of always had that in their model. They never really dropped that holistic model. Whereas here in the Western part of the world, we seem to have dropped that model, and then now we're kind of sort of rediscovering it, right?
Who is the first patient that a Western physician sees in medical school?
Good question. I'm not familiar with that.
A dead body.
Oh, right. Oh, right. You study the corpse right off the bat, huh? That's an interesting place to start.
So let me give you another analogy. I put a car in your driveway. I take the engine and the drivetrain out of it and let you study it for 4 years. Are you going to know how this thing works?
Not at all. You probably would think it was something you had to push down the road, huh?
In Oriental medicine, the first patient a student sees is a living one, so they can evaluate the mind, the body, and the spirit simultaneously, because the mind and the body are the engine behind the physical body. You cannot just study the mechanics and expect to know how the whole thing works.
Yeah, very interesting, totally different perspective on the whole system, huh?
Totally. But again, we only have less than 1 hour. Doubling back to my comment, I was going to say with Jim, CAT scans are one thing, but functional PET scans actually allow us to basically see how somebody thinks. You can see how their brain is functioning. The areas of the brain that are involved light up, they get hot because there's more chemical activity, therefore we see it on the functional PET scan. So with that, they can crudely see how somebody thinks.
Yes, it is, Vinny. And this is KD2IIN Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. I'm going to plug it on down to Jim if he wants to comment on that. K2BHM.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking PET scan, positive emission tomography. I was thinking more MRI.
Yeah, Vinny.
Because that's a faster response.
All right, very good. I'm going to just take an opportunity for check-ins quick, and then I'll let you guys go direct if you like. This is KD2IIN Net Control. Looking for any further check-ins, please call now. All right, I can't pick it up. You guys can go direct and carry it on.
TQS. Again, each diagnostic tool is used for different reasons. So you have to know what you're looking at. MRI shows more, MRI shows magnetic resonance, hence the name, whereas a PET scan, positron emission tomography, shows the hot spots where the areas light up, and it's far more a dynamic creature than the scan, but each of them does a different purpose.
Yeah, but my understanding of PET scan is you inject the body with radioactivity tagged to a pharmaceutical that targets a specific area of the body and makes that active. Whereas MRI, you basically go where you want and look at the way things are changing and the signatures that they're presenting. and you can actually shift the frequency response that you're looking at to see various other areas, Doppler shifts and stuff like that, flow, motion, activity, whatever.
That's funny, Vinny.
Sure. Yeah, there's ways to do that. I'll mention this and then I'll go back. Actually, I'm going to finish my other one first. Using the PET scan in particular, patients, documented patients with multiple personality disorder. These people will tell you they typically have a gatekeeper who announces when the next person is coming in. When they put these people in a PET scan, their brain scans changed completely to different energetic profiles depending upon which personality was there. And they got so accurate that the guys doing the scans would say, "Oops, here comes Joe." And a second or two later, the gatekeeper would say, "And now Joe is entering." So the brain changes just by thinking, and those thoughts create different chemical patterns and electromagnetic patterns that can show up even to Western science with 100% accuracy. Likewise, there was another study when they were doing them originally where they would notice people with alcoholics that they did a bunch of studies on and other conditions. They brought in actors and said, "Hey, we're doing a study. Play Virginia Woolf." Every single one of those people, their brain scans changed to that of an alcoholic pattern. So, again, there's Western science proving the Eastern belief.
Wow.
Let's see if I got it. Yeah, there's different aspects of it. I'm just looking at it from the technical aspect of it because I used to do field service on CAT scans, X-rays, MRIs, and nuclear medicine PET scanners. So I'm looking at it from the technical aspect, what the machine actually does.
Yep, and that's where the overlay is necessary. You need to, because each one shows a sliver of a function, and you need to overlap all of them. That's where you get the bigger picture.
Exactly, and that's why I got a big kick out of it. As a layperson, you would think that if you're going in to get an X-ray or an MRI or something like that, and a doctor saw something wrong, he would say, "Hey, this is wrong." But that's not the way it's written. The prescription is written to rule out a broken leg. And basically, he's only looking for a broken leg. Now, obviously, the guy is good and he's conscientious, and if he sees something else, he's going to make a note of it, but the only reason you're getting that X-ray is to rule out a broken leg.
Because those are the limits the insurance companies put upon medicine.
And isn't that a sad
Touche.
statement?
Anybody who has ever gone in for appendicitis, nobody goes to the operating room for an appendectomy. Everybody goes for abdominal pain, exploratory laparotomy, rule out appendicitis.
And when it's extracted, it's ruled out.
Well, it's out either way, whether it was ruled in or out. Sometimes you take it even if it's okay. But that diagnosis is well known in medicine. There is up to a 25% failure rate, even with the most accurate and complex diagnostics that are applied to it, because there's so many different things that could be involved.
Me too,
And
Vinny.
that's why you need overlap and big picture view.
And, 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 Yeah, exactly. And it's not an exact science. It's you're depending on the knowledge and expertise of the people that are serving you, and people respond differently to different things. I mean, what are the side effects of aspirin? Anything from severe flatulence to death. People react differently to different things.
Yep. But again, that's not the way the insurance companies like it. They like everything cookie cutter because that way they can evaluate it and put a price tag on it, which again is necessary. But again, you can't have both sides on two opposite sides. We need to be wise-minded and meet in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. But in the current political environment, with everything that's going on, and the coronavirus and all that, everything is in such a turmoil right now. I don't know when we're ever going to get back to normal again.
I don't think we ever are, unfortunately.
We're normal right now. Normal is whatever the expected situation is. Normal is today. You mean get back to normal that was 20 years ago? Or get back to normal it's going to be tomorrow? Normal is an adjective, not a definitive state. Or, like she said in the movie, normal is a setting on your washing machine.
And the dryer. Or it could be delicate. I mean, maybe we need delicate right now. I don't know. It seems like everybody's offended by anything and everything that's said, but whatever.
Yep.
Oh, things were so much nicer when I was a kid back in the 60s.
Yeah, I mean, we had the race riots, we had Vietnam, we had all the rest of it. Yeah, it was much nicer.
Touché.
All we had to do was climb underneath our desk in school and we were safe.
Gives old meaning to the term stop, drop, and roll.
Exactly. I guess we should probably let CJ get back to running the net.
No. No. I'm really enjoying this conversation. You guys can carry right on. KD2, net control. You guys go ahead.
Okay, but we'll at least pause in case anybody else wants to come in.
Fair enough. If there's any further check-ins you want to join the net or the conversation, please call now. This is KD2 and net control.
This is KD2UUI, John.
The net recognizes KD2UUI. John, I know I've spoken with you before. Welcome.
Hello. No, I just want to keep on listening. I don't want to interrupt the conversation. I like the flow.
Drop the mic. All right. Well, very good. I'm glad you joined us and glad you checked in. And I'll just let's see. I'll put it back to Ken. You guys can carry on. I'm enjoying this conversation and having a good chuckle over here. So pick it up, gentlemen. KD2I.
What do you think this is, a party line?
There you go, back to the normal 60s again.
Yeah, well, I had my mini bike and 12 acres of field over across the street, so I had a ball.
Yes, that said, there is now a new legislative initiative being implemented throughout the country that is literally called
That's funny, Vinny.
free-range children. They are making it legal that kids can go out in the woods by themselves, wander around, and be free-ranging, and go back to all those experiences like when you and I were growing up. And parents can't be charged with child abuse for that.
Good.
So when Mom used to scream at us and send us out to play and lock the door behind us, that was illegal?
then, but it is now.
Not back then, but many parents have been arrested and charged, several of them with felonies for
Hey,
doing
Owen.
exactly that.
Good to see you.
Well, it's a good thing my grandparents are dead because they actually smoked in the house in front of me.
Tisk, that might get you in trouble too.
Oh, God, things have changed so much. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, brain spinner on a comeback on that one. Don't imagine it. Why do we have to evaluate change? Why do we think that things need to be static? It's all a matter of perspective. Oriental medicine, Oriental philosophy speaks of the 5 elements, or actually 5 phases, saying that everything constantly is evolving and rolls through each of those 5 phases in a specific sequence. Again, the Western mindset quite often locks it and says this will never change. Reality is the world is constantly changing all around us.
Stylish,
Adapt
man.
or die.
Yeah, the only constant is change, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll grant you that. But, I don't know, sometimes it's good to long for the good old days when things were simpler.
That is serious smoker's business, Bummer. Oh, nice. Off for a week. Nice, Owen.
But we live in the present also. But it is nice to have those moments now and again.
So here's something to ponder. Let's see if I got it. Cars back in the 50s and 60s were death traps. They didn't have seat belts. They didn't have crush zones. They didn't have multiple airbags, and so forth and so on. And we didn't necessarily drive like we were nuts. Maybe when you're buckled in and all these safety features are around you and so forth and so on, and you're basically trusting them instead of using your own intelligence, are we creating the problem that we took responsibility for ourselves back then?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, scientifically proven.
Oh, nice, Owen.
Back in the day when I was doing rock climbing, I never wore a helmet. Studies proved those that climbed did not wear a helmet had less accidents because they paid more attention. Those who had helmets got in more accidents and more severe accidents than those who didn't. Very well proven.
Very interesting.
Yeah, I kind of wondered about that. I mean, it's like, give me a break. A couple of years ago, I was going down Ulster Ave in Kingston here, in the left lane, heading south.
Yes, they were. They
And
were
somebody
real
coming
steel.
up the other direction in the left lane stopped
Not
to
stunt
make a
garbage.
turn in front of me, but they were waiting for me to clear. And the guy behind him was
Nice,
busy texting. And rear-ended him at 35 miles an hour, and I had to do evasive maneuvers with the truck to avoid flying parts. And basically, 3 tow trucks and 2 ambulances later, the situation was cleared. Why do we have to be distracted, and why is that so important and more important than the job at hand? We didn't have that problem years ago. I mean, yeah, the kids would be a pain and so forth and so on, but you do your responsibilities.
Correct. Ask Facebook about that one. It's proven that social networking is engineered to addict us and
Yep.
get us hooked in on that.
Yep.
advance faster than our monkey brain can accommodate, and that causes disharmony in our environment and only causes more stress and more distraction. But that's planned. That's man-made. But it is a choice that we can implement to go back to the way we were.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of, on Facebook because I have to, I see the nieces and nephews' birthday party pictures and stuff like that. But other than that, you can keep it. I very rarely comment anything because no matter what you say, there is some idiot out there that is going to challenge you on it with no justification other than he can.
Pause and let CJ get in here in case he wants anything else.
Excellent timing. This is KD2IIN, Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. Excellent conversation, gentlemen, and I'm right there with you, so I'm just going to let you guys carry on, and we've got about 10 more minutes here. We can chat, and then I'll wrap up the net. You guys can carry on after that if you like, yeah, fantastic. Keep it rolling. This is a great conversation.
What can I say? You're a great host and an inspiration, CJ.
You're too kind, Jim. Thank you very much, and I always appreciate you guys, both of you guys' perspectives and insight on so many topics, and we always have some really awesome conversations on here. So, yeah, carry on. This is great.
Continue, Sam, or do you want to redirect?
Oh, no redirect. Continue on whatever conversation you wish to continue on. A lot of times people, they kind of get stuck on the net controller as being like a huge part of the conversation. Our job as net controllers is to facilitate good communication and then get out of the way once that happens. So carry on.
So how about them Mets?
Oh no! Don't take us into sports.
What movie is that from? That is a movie quote that I've used many times, and I cannot find out which movie it's from. I think it's one of the Fokker movies, but I'm not sure. Does anybody know where that quote comes from?
Never mind that. I want to know where the phrase happy camper came from. I could never find a definition for that.
No idea. I know there is one, but don't remember. Not a vital piece of information for me.
I remember being called in for jury duty back, early 80s. And one of the other jurors in the sequester room came up with the term happy camper. I never heard it before, and I've heard it everywhere ever since, and nobody can define where it came from.
So how about them Mets is from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with John Candy.
There you go.
Disagree. I never saw that movie.
We lived that movie.
Okay, well, admittedly, I did look that up through Google, and it came up through a Reddit thread, so it could be wrong.
Or it could be used in multiple movies.
This is true, too.
Our house here, let me see if I got it. We've got the road in front of the house. The other side of the road is the railroad tracks, and behind us is the lake. And so we've got trains, cars, boats, amphibious airplanes, jet skis, hovercraft. anything you want to imagine. It's here.
I believe it was during the infamous pillows or not pillows scene.
Even had a neighbor that rode his bicycle on the lake.
That's awesome, and I did a quick search here on Happy Camper, make sure I got it. It says this idiom has been used since the later 1800s, at least as early as 1885, and we can only speculate as to its origin. It is thought to have been derived from children's camps, alluding to the fact that while some children absolutely adore going to summer camp, others are miserable and homesick.
Hello, mother. Hello, father.
So, CJ,
Yes,
put
Barbara,
it
that was
back
a good
to
movie.
you in the aspect, are there any loose ends in our conversations up to this point? We're coming up on the end of it. I want to make sure if there's any questions from the net or any other loose ends that we have time to wrap that up. So, let me know your thoughts.
Oh, thank you very much, Ken. I appreciate your awareness of the time slot here and all of that. I don't have any further questions on that, but you opened an excellent conversation there, and I can't wait to see what the long-term comments here are on the YouTube channel. I know our YouTube audience who's watching live was very interested in that, and some of them had their minds blown by that conversation. So I'm really glad that you brought that up and kind of elaborated for us. I always appreciate your insight and your information on that. I don't think there's any loose ends to tie up on that, so I'll put it back to you gentlemen for, it looks like we got about 2 minutes here before I got to close it up. So any final comments, you guys can go back and forth, and I'll just let you run natural rotation. This is Kitty2, and Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. This has been an excellent conversation, guys. Thank you both very much. I'm cold.
Gee, I didn't do it on purpose. It's just going to happen. I guess you're a good inspiration.
Hey, Aaron. How's it going? Good to see you.
There's a comment in there, but I can't formulate it. It's organic. It just happened. What can we say? It's a good group. Back to that.
For sure, organic and self-regenerating. Isn't that amazing? Just like most natural systems, or all natural systems, and actually the nature of the universe as well, as we study it more and find out more about it. Gentlemen, thank you very much for checking into the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. I always appreciate your perspectives and insights, and I look forward to talking to you guys again soon. If not next Sunday, before then, hopefully. Anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and I will have to go ahead and close this up for now. So at this time, this is Katie2 and Net Control for the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net. This has been a session of the Sunday Night All Things Natural Net, sponsored by the Overlook Mountain Amateur Radio Club, located in beautiful Ulster County, New York. If you want to know more about our club, you can always visit our website at www.omarcclub.org. That's whiskey, 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 Oscar, Mike, Alpha, Romeo, Charlie, Charlie, Lima, Uniform, Bravo, Oscar, Romeo, Golf. Thank you guys. Thanks to all who participated, and I really appreciate it. And let's see, announcements. We do have announcements. Our club elections are coming up. We're working on getting the pieces of that together, but I encourage you to join our Zoom meeting in December. I believe that is the 16th, but double check with the more administrative faculties of our club on that. But just wanted to make people aware that that is up and coming, and we're going to have to make votes on who's going to be in charge of the club in the coming year and coming years. So that's that. There are 2 other nets on this repeater. At 8:35 a.m. and 6:30 p.m. is the daily check-in net, and on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. is the Thursday night net, which is run by Dave, K2JLV, and that's much more radio-related, and antennas and Raspberry Pis and DMR radio and all kinds of cool stuff. So I hope you'll check those nets out as well. That said, this is KD2IIN saying 7.3s, inviting you to join us again next week. This net is officially closed. This repeater is back under regular amateur use. Thanks again so much, gentlemen. Really appreciated this conversation. KD2IIN, I will be clear. And that's it, guys. I hope you'll join us over at the Paranormal Portal. Geeky, thank you for sharing the links as always. Vinny, thank you for the super chat.
So we can figure out what we're going to do and how we're going to do it with this COVID world now. So anyhow, going to take some changes, but we'll figure it out. Good night, all. K2PHM.
And I hope we'll see you guys over at the Paranormal Portal. Thank you, everyone who participated. This guy's doubled.
The dialogue from the Bass Fishing Network. Got a big one, Joe. Got another one. And they just keep repeating themselves. Well, good night, folks.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. We'll catch you on the Paranormal Portal. Everyone have a great evening if I don't see you at the portal. Thanks for watching the Farmacy Seeds Network. Vinny, thank you again for the super chat. Geeky, thank you for all your mod support and help. We'll talk to you guys soon.